Now let's take a look at the definition of the derivative. The definition of the derivative, in all its glory, is the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x divided by h. So how do we get this? What does this mean? Well, it's basically the slope formula, and I'm going to show you how. It's a slope formula with a limit of points. Okay, so let's take the normal slope formula from algebra. The slope of a linear function, usually called m, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or a change in y, delta y, over delta, a change in x. Okay? So this works for solving the slope for any linear function because their slopes are constant. Their slopes are the same between any two y's and any two x's. But for, let's say, a curve, the slope changes, right? When you're down here, slope is more horizontal, and as you go up, slope increases. So that's where the derivative comes in. It allows us to find the slope of a curve at a certain point. Not at every point, but we have to evaluate it at every point for that. But we find it one point at a time using the derivative. So what the definition is saying is it's taking this slope formula and saying, okay, this is y2, this is y1. So we have a point x, and we have a corresponding f of x. And that's x1 and y1. And then we're going to add to that x, and then we're going to have a different output at that different x value once we added on a certain number h. Okay? So the slope there, or the average slope between these 2 points, x and x plus h, is going to be f of x plus h, or y2, minus f of x, or y1, divided by x2, x plus h, minus x1, which is just x. And x plus h minus x is just h, so this simplifies to f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Okay? So now we have the average slope between any 2 points that have a difference in the x value of h. We're just adding h to the second point. And so what we want now, we want to find the slope at any point on this curve. We want to find the instantaneous slope of the graph. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the limit as h gets closer and closer to 0. So x plus h is going to slowly become x as h gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So these 2 points are going to, we're taking the limit as this point approaches this point. And if it is a continuous function and if the limit exists, then you can find that instantaneous slope. And that's called the derivative.